talk about that intro though.
What?
God, dog, I ain't mad. Don't, hey, you know that's nice. I
Hey,
ain't, don't
hey,
don't even trip. You know that's nice.
look,
God, dog.
I want to know who you paid to do that one right there, my brother.
Let me tell you something. I got that as an inspiration to you. Actually, I try to get a little no limit feel. I try to get some of that down dirty Atlanta
My
in that
God,
right there. So that's
no,
all for you.
no limit. That's
Uh,
what I'm talking about. You know, the No Limit Chronicles just came on. It's
okay,
actually on season three, right? I mean, episode three right now. So
okay.
I'm loving it, and
All right.
I got it on the projector right now as we talk tech. And
Well, pay attention to this show before you go to that show. Let's welcome everybody. Shouts out, everyone. Welcome to the lab. Scoop and Tall Boy here. This is a joint collaboration between Hicks New Media and TBE Entertainment. Look, we've been doing
Enterprises,
this
not
thing.
entertainment.
Oh, Enterprises. I don't know who you are. I'm sorry. Let me get your name right. God, no. You see, I got my logos on the screen too. So we are definitely stepping up in
What's the
terms of
one?
our quality. Uh, yeah, I see you over there. I see the Grammy on your desk as well. Loving it, loving
Nah,
it.
I don't have no
Um,
Grammy, man. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm far from that, my brother.
But this show, part of the series. Look, we've got a lot of shows within the family, but this one, me and Tall Boy have always been together talking about technology, talking about cameras, consumer electronics, streaming, talking about whatever is the latest and greatest. Right? We met, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. So this is in our blood. This is in our DNA. So why not do a show about it and give you all a non-biased 30 to 45 minutes talking technology? Does that sound right, man?
That's good with me.
Okay,
We live in this digital age that I've been begging people to get into this space with, and due to quarantine chronicles, COVID-19, a lot of people are trying to figure out how to stream. What's the best way to get their message or get their brand out to the best of their ability? So this is right on time as school starts back up and we go head into the fall.
that's true. That's an interesting topic to talk about as well. I like that name, the Quarantine Chronicles. Don't y'all watch out. I mean, we may have another show called that coming up, but today I figured let's talk about kind of what we've already touched on, live streaming, right? Everyone is sitting at home because we're on lockdown. Everyone uh, wants a way to project their voice, wants to talk about whatever, talk about their hobbies, their interests, wants to spread their voice and talk about social situations and things like that. So they're either bringing up a blog page or spinning up a YouTube channel and starting to get into live streaming, starting to do what we kind of do on an everyday basis, and let's just start talking about tools. What are you using? Because I know you've got a very elaborate system there that you've got at your lab. Uh, Talk to us, walk us through the inner workings of TBE over there and what you got going on for a live streaming perspective.
From a live streaming perspective, so right now, currently, every Tuesday, I do a live streaming cooking show for the young lady that I'm dating. Her name is Tammy, and the name of the show is called Try It with Tammy, and you can
Try
find.
it with Tammy. Yes, sir.
Uh,
Hey, hold on. Them chicken pot pies? Yes, sir. Tell her I said that. I'm just gonna say that again. Go ahead. Go ahead.
we do a live streaming cooking show, and this is really more of an extensive setup that I have with her. Whereas we're using four cameras with her. We're bringing in a DJ remotely from their house because it's quarantine, and we're streaming what we were originally streaming on Facebook, but this week I purchased a service called Restream, and now we're doing it on YouTube, and I demoed it or did a beta test on Twitch as well this past Tuesday. But I didn't tell anybody that I did it. I just wanted to see what it would look like.
Yeah, you didn't even tell me, right? You
No,
fired up a
no,
Twitch channel. Okay. Because, so everything on the Hicksview Media side, Infotainment News, all of those shows stream to, like this one as well, stream to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and to my site, infotainmentnews.net. So I've seen Restream, they're a fantastic product, very very robust in terms of their capabilities and their integrations with other tools, multiple cameras, tools like OBS, tools like XSplit, things like that. Um, I just personally didn't take the time to want to learn OBS. So, like I tried to read the manuals. I installed it. It's free. That's the right price, but I didn't feel like learning how to do it. So I'm working with, and I don't want to say settled on, but I'm working with StreamYard, and I'm actually very happy with StreamYard. I've got the Pro edition of that package, so I can actually go live to 8 different locations at the single time. My camera and my vision is coming in at 1080p, so I'm actually streaming myself in 1080p, which is amazing, and I love that. And
Now, are
what I
you
re
using a webcam or are you using a DSLR or a mirrorless camera? Because we need
yeah,
to talk
so
about that.
yeah, so right now I'm using the Logitech Brio, and that actually can actually stream out in 4K. But since none of the platforms and other solutions support that, I'm only going out at 1080p right now at 30 frames per second.
Okay, so what a lot of
Um,
people do not understand right now, even though they use the term 4K, technology has not caught itself up with on your phones,
Good
on
point.
your TVs to be able to receive that signal in 4K. So technically, you're 2 or 3 years ahead of yourself because right now,
Yeah,
as
that's
we
true.
come out with these new Apple phones, these new Android phones, eventually we're going to be there. So you're basically buying those webcams, those cameras, you're buying that technology for something that is about to release probably within the next 3 or 4 years, shall we say. So you're ahead of the curve
Yeah.
when it comes to
Well,
4K.
you think about it. That's how it was when we go to CES, right? And right when the 4K the high end TVs came out, 3D TVs, we were there
Curve
2 years
TV.
before those actually hit
Right.
Best Buy, and those really didn't take off. But you're right. So like Facebook doesn't allow streaming at 1080; it only goes up to 720. But YouTube, when you see that 1080p resolution on that screen, that really sets you above kind of the rest of the field out the playing field out there, but just by having that quality camera. So yeah, right now, like I said, I'm using the Logitech Brio. I am looking at going to the Logitech StreamCam, which is their 1080 at 60 frames per second. But with lockdown and everything, those have been on back order, and I can't get them from anywhere. I can get them. I can get it on Amazon for about 50% more than actually you should buy it from right now, right? It's like $150 at Logitech normally, and it's $275. Someone in New York has like 5 of them, and they're charged. It's stupid. So
Yeah.
I'm
Right
I'm
now,
waiting.
if you were not on this game when COVID hit and people were locking down, you should have been buying all of this stuff. And I know that society was not thinking about this, but I was literally out there trying to buy capture cards. Matter of fact, I bought this
What you
one with
got? Talk about it.
nobody.
What you got there?
I bought this one with nobody. Let me see if I can do it. It's the Sony A5100. The girl didn't even know what she had. So
Oh
this
my
is the
goodness.
Sony A5100. She gave me the body only. I
Okay.
took the stock lens that came with my Sony A6300, which I use another interchangeable lens, but she sold this to me for $175. Now,
Wow.
now look it up right now and see what you can get a Sony A5100 for on eBay. Look it up real quick.
Uh, okay.
she
Hold
she
on.
she, she didn't know what she didn't know what was going on. So I just had a conversation with a gentleman today and or yesterday, and he was telling me that he worked at a paint shop, and a lot of Asians were coming into the paint shop saying, "I want the N95 mask." Back in January, February, and they were
Yeah.
paying for boxes, and they were
Wow.
paying, and they didn't. They were like, "I'm not ordering all these masks." So he was saying they were giving out the money and they were just ordering them. So then when COVID hit, they had all the masks because they had ordered. So but when everything shut down, my thing was I don't want to be silenced. So
Yeah.
let me go out and go get my cameras. And
Go
she
get your
didn't know
gear.
what she had, and she was just trying to get rid of it. And it
Yeah.
was like, well, look. She wanted 250. I said, "Will you take 175?" And she was just trying to get rid of it. She met me at the grocery store, sold it to
Oh
me, and I ran
man,
up out of there as quickly as I possibly could, my brother.
that's the deal right there. Because I'm looking, and the lowest price I see is 448 for the A5100, and that's you got the deal of the century there. So
No, that's
good
not the
job
deal of the
on
century, but
that.
it's a great deal.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about this because you asked me about what I'm using. I said I'm using webcams, and I think I'm going to continue to invest in some other webcams. I also have a GoPro Hero 8, which I haven't even configured yet, and I'm going to probably use that. But you're using DSLRs and you're using those Sonys. Which actual cameras do you have? Because you've got a multiple of them, right?
Okay, so right now, what you're seeing right now is my Sony A5100,
Hmm.
and then I'm gonna get a little fancy on you real quick.
Oh, look at this! Look at this!
This one
I
right here is my Canon 80D with a stock lens on that, so you can kind of see like a difference in the quality slightly, shall we say?
Yeah.
And so the Canon 80D is a DSLR. This one here is my mirrorless camera, but I'm using an interchangeable lens. I'm using an adapter with a 24 to 105 lens on this one here. So that's the 24 to 105 lens. And really, to be honest with you, when you take pictures, when you take pictures, you can tell a difference from stock lenses
Yeah.
versus those red ring lenses. Those are the money lenses.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I know about those. I spent a little money on those as well. But hold on.
So,
I
so I
know
have
we're.
to get more because I use four cameras for my girlfriend's show.
Yeah.
So she sees. So I have a overhead cam, and I was gonna see if I can hustle you out of that GoPro 8 if you're not gonna use it, because mine does not give me clean HDMI, but I have an action cam that
Okay.
I use, and I crop out the lettering, the battery power level, and stuff like that. I
Right.
crop that out, and then I give her an overhead cam. So when you watch the food, shall we say, um, when she's putting doing the whatever, I don't know the correct terminology.
When she's cooking, right? When she's
But
doing
when
her thing.
when you see her putting the ingredients in, when you see that,
Yeah.
I usually switch to an overhead cam to where you can see that, and then I also have another Sony cam here. So I use two Sony cams. I use my DSLR with a zoom lens onto the food. So when she's at the stove, I have a zoom lens on. And then this is one where it's like right there. When the taste tester comes in and he does something, I can show a better image of him actually eating the food. And then I
Makes
can
sense.
switch back to camera one to where she's at. So,
Yeah. And that makes sense. And in the show notes for everyone who is watching, I will actually leave the link to Tammy's cooking show. It's a good show. It sometimes it's actually hilarious. So look, there's comedy. It's a real deal. And much props to her for her show and for the success that she's had this far. But I wanted to ask you a couple of things because you're switching between cameras, and we
correct.
just had a kind of a question from Leroy here, and I think you're using some of this technology anyway, right? The Blackmagic A10 Mini to do some of that switching between cameras. Is that correct?
Correct. So I'm using the. So actually, I wanted the A10 Mini back in October, November. So I'm a little mad that this A10 Mini Pro came out. What people don't know is the A10 Mini was on back order, and so it was supposed to release in December 20th, 2019. It was on
Okay.
back order, and no one could get their hands on it. It did not hit my door until the day after Valentine's Day, and then I want to say back in April they released the A10 Mini Pro. So I'm like,
Okay.
I've only had this for 3 or 4 months, and now you've just released the Pro version that gives you multi viewer. Well, what you can't see this on my screen right now, but I actually went to the Goodwill, bought a monitor, went out and bought a multi viewer on Amazon. Then I went out and purchased four 2x1 splitters and a whole bunch of HDMI cables. just to be able to make this all work, to be able to switch from camera one to camera two
Wow.
to camera three to camera four, and I can see what's going on the screen. So
That's crazy.
yeah, so but my thing is I wanted a professional setup to
Yeah.
where she has a monitor that she can see what's going on. So she has a competence monitor, shall we say, and then I have a competence monitor as in the multi view. So before I go live on anything, if anything's out of focus, out of frame, I can see it on my monitor, and you can't see it. Maybe while you're talking, maybe I can switch one of these cameras over. I'll get up
Okay.
and show it a little bit, and that way people can see what I have kind of in my living room of a TV studio.
You got to step over all the HDMI and coax cables just
Yes,
to go
yes,
to your
yes,
desk.
yes,
You know,
yes.
so let's talk about from a pricing perspective, though, right? So the 810 Mini was about $300,
Yeah,
and
two ninety five.
I'm rounding up, and then
Yep,
the Mini Pro is about $600.
correct.
And kind of like Leroy was saying as well, the new Pro.ISO has just come out, and that's $895. So, you know, these are real pieces of hardware, real pieces of equipment to be able to do this. But this is live television production in your own living room, in your own house. You are essentially your own station for 1,200, maybe even less than that, right? You can have all the infrastructure, all the equipment to actually do a very successful show for nothing compared to what it was a number of years ago.
Well,
You agree
let's
with
just
me?
put it like this: Black Magic Design, they don't make anything less than $2,000. So for you to get an A10 Mini Pro for
Okay.
300, I mean, excuse me, an A10 Mini for $300,
Yeah.
and you can get the same broadcast studio equipment
Yeah.
on a prosumer or consumer level, shall we say, that's a steal of a deal. So $300 may be a lot of money to somebody, but once again, a lot of people don't understand when it comes to this live streaming thing. There's four levels. Level one is your cell phone. You just take your cell phone, you go live on Facebook, you go live on Instagram, you go live on YouTube. Just take your cell phone. It doesn't matter if you're Android, it doesn't matter if you're Mac. I mean, if you're iPhone, iOS. Just go live. You
Right.
can go live. You can go get you a tripod and go get you one of those little accessories that will hold the camera. And I have one over here. I just don't have it on my table. And you can just go live right here on your phone.
Yeah.
He, Scoop and I, we battle back and forth over who's better, Android or iOS.
Well,
I
we
have
know
another
who's
family
better.
member.
Look. We don't have to go down that road because
I have
we
another
already
family
know.
matter, a family member. We battle over LG versus Samsung. So it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I mean, all you need is just a phone, and
You
you can
needed
go live.
something. Yeah. Yeah.
Second is your browser base. So if you guys are familiar with Facebook and Instagram, those are all browsers. So what we're using right now is StreamYard. It's a browser base. There's nothing being installed on your computer. It's just literally I'm going to log on to StreamYard.com and I'm going to invite my guest. I and I can do exactly what you're seeing Scoop and I doing right now.
Hmm.
Third, you have a service such as OBS, which is free. I use a service called XSplit. I think that's like the middle tier package, shall we say?
Yeah.
And then you have the industry standard vMix. So basically, all of the people that are in this industry of live streaming, if you are a professional, like, and I'm not saying I'm not a professional, but the industry standard is vMix, and there's so many things that you can do with that. I think a lot of people are not familiar with live streaming, so they're like, "Hey, I'm not trying to really invest any money in this. I want to see how long that this really goes." The people that have been doing this for a minute,
Yeah.
they either use OBS or they use vMix, and then I found something somewhere in the middle where you download the software and you build out your assets. And maybe I can find a way to share my screen and show you a snippet of what what XSplit does. But it's similar to
Okay.
OBS, it's similar to vMix, but that's what I feel most comfortable using. And I tell anybody, just find something that works for you.
That's a
Um,
good point. Yeah.
and then lastly, The fourth tier is when you're using one of those downloadable software such as OBS, XSplit, or vMix. You step your game up and you go get one of these.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's go full camera with that right there. What you got?
See, I don't know if it's going to focus on that. There we go. It's called a Stream Deck. So this Stream Deck right here, what you do is you literally can press the button while you're in your XSplit, your OBS, your vMix. You press the button and it will switch scenes. It'll play sound effects. It will fire off whatever you want it to fire off. It can even play songs. All you do is press the buttons, and that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, Ecamm for Mac. I'm not a Mac person, Leroy, so I'm not very familiar with Ecamm, but Ecamm is the
Yeah.
streaming what's compatible for PC.
Yeah.
Ecamm is compatible for Mac.
Yeah.
But yeah, that fourth one is when you have your downloadable software, you're using your Stream Deck, you're hitting the buttons, and I'm sitting here talking to you, and I'm literally just pressing the button, and it's firing from scene one to scene two to scene three. I'm showing, however I program it, and it's very easy to do. I
Yeah.
mean, and the cool thing about it is they have three different tiers. I don't know the levels that they have, but three different tiers. They have one that only has four buttons. They have this one that has 15 buttons, and I think they have a full one that has 30 buttons, if I'm correct. Don't quote me
Yeah.
on that number.
And
But
they've got an app too, right? I mean, I think we've talked about the app, but it's almost
no,
best to not don't go with the app, go with the actual physical hardware, right?
correct. And then the cool thing about it is once these fill up, you can create another folder and then you can have a whole nother 15 or another 30 or another four of these. So these will go all the way. Now, people who use vMix, they don't use necessarily the Stream Deck, they use X keys. So it's similar to, if you don't know what any of this is, Google it, look it up. I'm pretty sure you'll have an understanding. But if you really want to get fancy in your live streaming, I mean, you can hit this button and it'll fire off your show. And I mean, it takes practice.
Yeah.
It takes practice,
Yeah.
but you can make it happen.
Yeah. And again, I'll put links to all of these tools that we've talked about kind of in the show notes. But I want to take half a step back and so now we've talked about kind of platforms, we've talked about some of the hardware infrastructure, but some of the tools that should not be overlooked. A microphone, a good microphone, right? I mean, you've got some decent quality there. I've got some decent quality here. You definitely want to make sure that your audio is on point. Um, which microphone are you using right now?
So right now, this is the what's this brand here? I should know this off the top of my head, but Audio Technica AT 2020.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I use, but I use this with an actual mixer. So I actually have the Mackie 802 VLZ3 plugged into a Scarlett 2i2 audio interface that plugs in USB into my PC, and that's what allows me to use my three-channel mixer, so I can bring in three microphones, wireless microphone, this microphone here that you seeing me use, and I can bring in another microphone as well into that mixer, and
Yeah.
I can control the the EQ. I can control the treble, the bass. I can control all of that from that mixer. And then, but I had to purchase an interface that would allow me to plug the Mackie board into my laptop. So
Gotcha.
now in my hand over here, I have
What's that? A Yeti you got there? Is that
yes,
is?
I have a
Oh,
yeah, I got a blue Yeti. I
yeah.
don't use this, so
Yeah.
I don't use it at all. But it's good. The audio quality is great. But now that I have all this broadcast because I worked in radio, I think that this is probably the best thing.
Yeah.
Um, this is the step above. This is really more for web type stuff. This is really more for, I want to cut a commercial, I want to do something, or I want to get a voiceover. This is the microphone that I use until I upgrade this mic into a better studio mic, shall we say.
Right, right. Yeah, I've seen a lot of folks that are podcasting, right, or and mobile podcasting that are at those conventions and trade shows. They'll have the blue microphones and the Yetis out there with
Yes.
them on the road there. So I just picked up the Bcaster by Neat, and it's an amazing microphone. It's got the filter on it and everything. What's really critical that I have noticed, as opposed to some other microphones that I had, make sure that you get a microphone that allows you to adjust the gain. Right,
Yes.
you don't want to be messing around to where folks can't hear you when you're talking. So adjusting the gain, not necessarily something that has the mono stereo and different types of amplitude, but as long as you can adjust your sound quality going out, that's critical. And so I took you all that way, Tallboy, because I wanted folks to understand and hear the infrastructure that you had, right? Because again, you already touched on it. You come from radio, right? That's in your DNA. And kind of, we were joking before the show started. You're normally the guy just standing behind the microphone doing the interview, as opposed to being interviewed and talking about the stuff that you got. So it's 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 great to see all of the equipment that you have, but for everyone watching, you don't have to have this extensive mixers and soundboards and things like that to get your show off the road. I'm firing this off of a laptop. I think you're running your main logistics right now off of a new laptop as well, right? I mean, so everything's tied into just a laptop. So you don't have to necessarily have the large uh, i7 processor or the new MacBook Pro or whatever the case may be, but a decent system, decent internet connectivity. That's critical and that's key as well to have decent connection to the internet, so you can avoid buffering and avoid any delay in your signal. But
Well, let me correct you there. You're not going to be able to stream, and I think I ran into this problem when I first got into the live streaming space.
yeah,
When you buy a laptop, you need to make sure that you have good enough specs to be able to live stream. And
that's true. No, that's true.
first and foremost, you need an i7 processor. First and foremost, with at least minimum quad core. So you need 4 cores minimum, 16 gigs of RAM.
Now,
So
see, hold up, but see, everyone can't go out and get the latest
no,
thing that's
no, no,
out
no, no,
there.
no, no, no,
I
no, no,
mean,
no,
and
no,
that's
no,
quite.
no, no. Hold up,
Even
time
though,
out.
yeah, we got that. Even though we
No, no,
rocking
no.
that,
Time out, time out,
yeah,
time out.
but yeah,
That's bare minimum. So I mean, if you want to stream, and I mean that's just to get started. I'm not
yeah.
talking about this new laptop that I have because when I tell you the specs behind this,
Oh, yeah, I know the specs.
no, 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 I upgraded since we last talked. But I'm just saying, for anyone that wants to stream, you need a minimum of an i7 processor, at least quad core. You need at least 4 cores. So, I mean, when you go into your device manager and you see, or you click on my computer and do that right click and go into properties, you need to be able to see, do you have a quad core processor? Do you have 16 gigs of RAM? Because at 8 gigs, that's not going to be able to hold a substantial stream. That's
yep.
just bare minimum.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I was trying to not scare everybody
No, 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 no.
into coming in, but you're
Right.
telling the
I don't
truth.
want to scare you, but you
Yeah,
have to have the bare minimum
yeah,
just to be
yeah,
able to do it. And
yeah.
I think a lot of people, when you start saying, well, I need to go run out and buy a laptop, well, there's other alternatives. Remember, I told you first, there's your phone. Two, there's StreamYard if you don't have the money to go out and buy the bare minimum. Now, I had a previous laptop, shall we say, give me 1 second. And unfortunately, I ran into a problem with my this laptop here. This is the
No,
bare minimum.
we talking bad about HP
No,
now. Hold on.
this laptop has gone for me for it's been with me for about 5 or 6 years. Unfortunately, it got damaged in the back, so it was time for me to do an upgrade. You know, it was like there's only a matter of time before this thing was going. You know, it's lived its life. It's had its life with me.
Yeah.
It's gone overseas with me. It's light. It's compact. It did what it needed to do for me.
Right.
But it was the bare minimum just to get me started, and I was doing Tammy's show with that. Now,
Okay.
and keep in
Okay.
mind, I was doing video editing with this as well. So 16 gigs of RAM is just to help you to get your stream up and going. So I think so. Once again, I'm not telling anyone to go out and buy a laptop because right now, you know, we hoping that this government stimulus package comes through, and some people really need that money for other things. So there is other services such as a StreamYard, such as your phone. But if you are in the market for a laptop, I'm not telling you to go get a quad core. I would probably say go get a 6 core or an 8 core. I would recommend that. But I mean, at the same token, if you want to just get started, the bare minimum is quad core, 16 gigs of RAM,
Right.
i7 processor. That's the
Yeah.
bare minimum, and you could probably get that for about $500 or $600 at Best Buy, or I wouldn't go to Walmart. No knock against them.
Don't
I
don't
just,
don't don't don't
they
go there.
probably only going to sell iPods.
Well, because they sell the same equipment, but again, it's probably it's two, 3 generations back. So you
Correct.
definitely want to go some, and I guess to make that even plainer, it's relatively straightforward to get started. But the quality and what you're trying, whatever you're trying to do with your stream and your show and your series is, you definitely need to invest in some quality equipment if you want to have a quality output. So, and some of the things uh, integrated into these systems, like Leroy is saying, we need to get who's Leroy, man. We need to get him on the show. The man here knows what he's talking about. That's right, man. You got to go with them Nvidia GPUs. You
Yep.
got to get something to handle that graphics
Look, look,
capability
look,
as
look.
well. So
We didn't even talk. We didn't even talk about that. You got to have an Nvidia graphics card.
yeah.
So,
Well,
uh,
you got to have a GPU. I mean, we Nvidia is not paying us right now for any advertising, so we're not just gonna say Nvidia. We're just gonna say a GPU, right? Uh,
I understand what you're saying, my man.
until they kick in some sponsorship, then we just gonna say you can have AMD, you can have Nvidia, you can have who else makes GPUs? Like I don't remember. So
those, those are really the only two that actually do it right now.
that's
So,
true. That's true. Uh, let's talk about. I got the youngster. Hey, tall boy, look at here, chiming in. My young gamer up here. He's up there playing. I don't know what he's playing right now,
he's
but he
probably
he
playing
knows.
Fortnite.
Well, I think he stepped away from that. I think he's on to something else right now. But look, he's got multiple monitors going. We need to get Isaiah on here as well one of these days because he's got dual screens. He's got all this Razer mice, and he's got a dialed-in system
Well,
up there right now.
he got a cool dad that understands all of this stuff. So
Say
yeah,
that again. Say that again. I'm
he
gonna
got a.
make sure we recording.
Oh,
I'm
hold
gonna
up,
make sure
not,
we.
no, we're not doing no shameless plugs over here, my man.
That's all good. That's all good. But so let's talk about this, man. Let's kind of bring it back home a little bit. So again, we talked about infrastructure. We talked about the type of system, microphone, cameras, mixers. If you want to really step up the game, I like that conversation about and I think we're talking laptops as opposed to desktops because we're mobile people, right? As opposed to getting a desktop where you're tied to your house, you're tied to your office. Look, we like to do these things mobile. We're at trade shows, conferences, things like that. So. Give us a couple of your best practices for when the lights come on and I know your best practices for when you're behind the camera, but when the lights come on and you start streaming, give us a couple of the best practices that you want to really leave with the folks there that they do.
Well, first, understand what you're talking about. I mean,
Mm.
even today, before we even got started, I was doing research, and
Guess what? Hey, you had the manuals out and you was doing some YouTube searches.
you got to know
This
what you're
brother,
talking about. Yeah, because at the end of the day, the people that are watching your show or that are watching you, you are the expert, or you're trying to show how you bring brand authority to whatever that subject may be. So if
yep,
you don't have if you don't have that subject matter down pat, if I was saying I don't
Yep.
know, well let me look this up, then basically my credibility just went out the door.
Yep.
So that's first and foremost. So first having that confidence, doing your research, knowing what it is that you're talking about, being direct. You telling me not to talk about the computer or the laptop, but me saying no, this is what you need. That once again
Yep.
that reinforces that authority.
Yep.
And then I mean at the end of the day, it's smiling and just making sure people. No, because people. I mean, if
Yeah.
I'm just talking to you in a very direct and blunt way, it may not rub off. Whereas if I smile,
That's
you
true.
know,
Look at look at him. Look at him.
if I smile, you might like, you might say, you know what? And I'm also telling you, and I'm reinforcing it with saying, go back and Google and look it up. So once again, once you see that guy knows what he's talking about. So, so that's first. And I mean, those are the top three things that I would say when you're in front of the camera.
Right.
Understanding your subject material, smiling, and basically reiterating what you think are points that you know that people need to hear.
I
So
agree
those
with
are
you.
the three things that I would say when it comes to being in front of the camera.
I agree with you, man. And I kind of set you up with that because look, I know, and I want everyone watching this to know that Corey Tallboy Sanders has a
Full government,
incredibly vast. I use the government name too on that
full
one. Look,
government,
has a very vast library of content. He has interviewed everybody. All right,
not
and that's
everybody.
not. No, you've interviewed everybody,
I haven't
and
interviewed Donald Trump yet.
look, he ain't. Don't.
I'm just saying I
This
haven't
ain't
interviewed.
this ain't that kind of show, brother.
I
I'm
have
not trying
interviewed
to.
Bill
I'm not.
Clinton, but not Donald Trump. So I
My
mean,
my son is watching. I don't want to use no language right now. Okay.
but,
Needless to be saying,
I haven't interviewed President Barack Obama. I was in the room with him, but
you was close. You got
I was
Oprah.
close. I was
You
close.
got you got
But
you
see
got you got
now,
a
now
lot.
you
All
went
right.
from
Let me.
politics to the pearl. Now see how you did that?
Oh my gosh. This guy. Look, ladies and gentlemen, see what I got to deal with, man. That's why I got to make sure I'm controlling the production behind the scenes. Needless to be said, this man has again a vast library of content that he's produced. So he's been in the game. He knows what he's talking about in terms of this whole live streaming industry. So listen to what he's saying. I'm a student myself. I do a lot of research. I've got a decent amount of equipment here. Again, putting some skin in the game in terms of what I'm using. I'm using StreamYard. I've got some pretty decent cameras. I got some very. I'm not gonna lie. I got some nice monitors in here. But again, we're always improving at our. I don't want to tell my wife how much I paid for some of these things, but I
You
do
gonna
have
watch
some
the
things in
show and
here.
she's gonna ask you over dinner. You
Yes,
might not
sir.
get no dinner tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hopefully, we were able to provide you guys with some context if you are interested in the streaming game.
Oh, well,
Um,
before you do that, hold on one second. It's, and I would be wrong if I didn't tell you this. What did I do with the other one? I had it earlier. I would be wrong if I didn't tell you.
yes,
Before
sir.
you go out and get any camera and you try to live stream, you
Yeah.
need something to be able to bring it into the camera, bring the camera into the computer, and that you're going to need a capture card.
Yes.
So capture cards are very key. They're not tell. Hey, what's going on, Robert? How you doing, my brother? Um, you need a capture card. So they have different kind of capture cards. Right now, capture cards are probably hard to find. If I were you, I highly recommend, and I'm going to plug this guy because I learned a lot from him. If you go to YouTube and look up the name Epos Box, EPOSVOX, he is going to talk to you about the $20 capture card. And when I tell you I needed this thing 2 weeks ago and it came in the mail, good capture cards are so hard to come by. They have literally, when I tell you the 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 the, the one, I cannot think of the brand that that everyone is buying, but it was $2.99. Well, if you look up capture cards right now while you're
Yeah.
doing your research,
Is it Magwell? Because Leroy just
yeah,
typed
yeah,
just.
Magwell, there it is. The
Okay.
Magwell capture cards, they were $2.99. Those capture cards are probably running about $400 or $500 right about now. Well, Episvox found this one here. I ordered two of these for $20. They came in the mail within 10 days. And when I say I needed it the other day for a stream, now I will say it did not pick up my audio, but it did give me the video.
Okay.
And when I tell you it did what it at least got me up and running. Now I also was able to pick up another one. Affiliate is this brand here, shall we say?
Mm-hmm.
This is another capture card that's really good. It's $199. So the capture card, so once you buy the camera, you still got to be able to plug it into the USB port.
Yep.
And without that, you have no live streaming unless you're using a webcam.
That's true.
So I
So
would
that's that key delineation, though, right? I mean, if you're using a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, you have to have that capture card.
correct.
But if you're using a Logitech or Microsoft a webcam, you don't necessarily need to have that. But yeah, that is a great point that needs to
Yeah,
be
I mean,
told.
you sitting out there saying, "I'm gonna buy the laptop. I'm gonna go out and get the
Yeah,
mixer. I'm gonna go
yeah.
get the camera, but I don't have." You just messed up, and right now,
You're
so
gonna
I'm
be
telling
mad when you try to go
you,
live because
man,
you missing
well,
something.
Cowboy said all these things, but he didn't
Yeah,
tell me about the capture card.
yeah.
So
You left out one
I would
of the
be wrong
important
if I did
pieces.
not mention the HDMI. I don't know if I can get it to focus in or not. I'm not sure. Probably not. But it just says HDMI video capture. I would look him up on YouTube. His name is Eposvox, EPOSVOX. This guy knows his stuff. I aspire to be like him and Peter McKinnon one day. When it comes to this, and thanks to Scoop over here, he's saying, "Come on, Tarwa, we're gonna do us a live show." I don't know if he put it on YouTube or not, but we're gonna have to find a way to get this on my YouTube channel to where we can
Yeah.
share this content as well, so I can start being that brand authority guy here. So
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, and that's a good way to end it right there. But I'm just gonna leave
and
it right there. You just dropped the
I thought
mic.
I thought we was going a whole hour. We're only 42 minutes, 43
Well,
minutes.
it's up to you, baby. Look, we got the questions coming in. We got Leroy. We got Robert coming in. I got some dark liquor.
We
Look,
got
we can
Rob.
we
Yeah.
I got some
There
dark
you
liquor
go.
going.
So I'm part of this group called Live Streaming with Friends. We did a 30-day challenge with live streaming pros. Um, look at Isaiah. Isaiah, your
So,
guy,
so what's
he
cool
knows
is
his
about
stuff.
that. This is
Isaiah,
this
I
is
know
this is
my stuff, man. I
this is
know,
this is the
and
first
your dad
comments
may not
coming in
know,
from
but I know my
Twitch.
stuff. Huh?
Hey, but this is the first comments coming in from Twitch because you saw it. So I'm kind of happy about that. That my third show on Twitch and the fact that it's come. So I gotta love that.
That's good. You're on Twitch. Okay.
Look,
Uh,
that's where the youngsters are, right? You see that's where the 16
yeah.
year olds are,
Yeah.
who know everything. Look at them. Have you talked about dual computer setups?
Well, that'll be for the next show, Isaiah. We'll bring you in and you can just tell us all about it. I know a little bit because I got two computers over here and I got another one. So I was kind of bringing in live streaming pros because when we went live, I shared this with this page as well. Live streaming with friends. So Rob and Robert are in that group. We did a 30-day challenge with live streaming pros, and they just started. Where if you want to learn about getting in front of a camera and working with live streaming and building up your confidence and being in front of the camera, they have an actual live every day in April and in August. So myself, Robert, and Rob, we did the challenge in April. We
Okay,
then created a group to where people who feel uncomfortable about live streaming, they don't want to mess up and they don't want to embarrass themselves on their Facebook page. We have an actual Facebook group that you can go into once you complete the August or the April class. And basically, like I said, you're talking, they're giving you challenges every day to make you feel more confident when it comes to the live streaming. So, people from
okay,
all over the world, there's people in Sweden, there's people in the UK, there's people all over the United States. and everyone brings something to the table to where you are doing a live, you're posting it in the group. We all get a chance to see, and you get a chance to meet different people. And with that being said, these guys I shared with them on the page in the live streaming with friends of saying, hey, when it comes to this live streaming stuff, hopefully some of the ones that are looking to understand more information about live streaming, at least with the specs, shall we say,
Yes.
they will have a better understanding. So hopefully, this will be informative for some of the people that are in this group that are
Yeah.
watching that I share this to, as well as the
That's
people
pretty
that are
cool.
on our respective pages.
That's pretty cool. Kind of like a Toastmasters, right? I mean, a support group helping you get up there in front of the room and how how your mannerisms are, your body language, and your
Right.
eye contact and things like that. So that's pretty cool. I'm
Yeah.
glad that something like
And
that
we
is
got to
out
get
there.
some of these guys in here because they on this show. I would love to bring them in because I think they have a vast knowledge and they're probably smarter than I am. So I just have been doing this because I love it since 2008, 2009, ever since I
Yeah.
was at the Super Bowl and I was on that field of that celebrity sweat flag football game and I went live on Ustream and I was like,
Oh my God! You said UStream. That's old. There you go.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was live on the field with my laptop, and I'm like, I couldn't believe I was literally live on the internet on my
Yeah.
website, and I'm like, I'm live. And ever since then, from 2008, 2009, whatever year the Super Bowl was in New Orleans, I've been blown away.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, I've
That's
been
pretty
blown away.
cool. I mean, so again, I'll put the plug out there to anyone watching right now, anyone interested. Leroy, Rob, Lance, we see you out there, player. If you are ever interested in getting on with us, definitely come on with us. Let's have that conversation. We're just setting up the platform and having the conversation. We all have something to bring to the conversation about consumer electronics, about maybe even enterprise technology. Right, so a couple of us are in the enterprise IT field as well. We could talk about some of those things. I think maybe even our next conversation could be about data backup and data recovery because I think you had an issue with data protection not too long ago. I don't want to open
You
up
can
any
tell it. It's
wounds.
all good.
I, I, I
I was stupid. I called myself trying to. So basically, I just went out. Blab, yes.
oh my
I'll
gosh,
never,
Blab was so
I'll never
cool.
forget Blab. So
Blab was
basically,
nice.
I went out and bought the Dell G7. Got it as my birthday present to myself, but I knew I needed to get a laptop. I went out and it came with 250 gigs of solid state drive, a 1 terabyte hard drive, and 16 gigs of RAM. So I went on and upgraded to 1 terabyte of solid state storage, 1 terabyte of solid state drive memory, and a 32 gigs of RAM. And in the process of doing this, instead of just paying the $60 or $75 that I should have paid to Micro Center or the Best Buy, I called myself trying to do it myself. Called
At
one
what time too? Probably what 3 o'clock in the morning. No,
huh?
that's when you called me. Hold on. Yeah, so I'll let you.
So I called. So my friend that works at Micro Center, or he used to work at Micro Center, said, "Yeah, I can help you do it." And he asked me, "Did I have an external hard drive with 32 gigs of RAM on? I mean, 32 gigs of memory?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got my external hard drive. It's right here." Now I got a 64 gig chip here. I got a 32 gig chip here. I got all kind of stuff here. But no, I plugged my 2 terabyte hard drive that has all my stuff in it, plugged it in to reformat the or to clone the the memory that was on the laptop, and I ended up reformatting my external hard drive. So all of my interviews that I have had over the last 2.5 years, I just wiped away. So I called myself trying to see if Scoop could save the day, and basically I have an expat. Uh,
I was the bearer of the bad news, saying that look, you can do it, but it's gonna cost you. I recommended Drive Savers, which is a professional organization that will actually try to go out and rebuild the bits on the drive. But I forgot what Corey told me that the pricing was. But yeah, when he told me he
So
reformatted the drive,
starting out at $700 and could tap out at $2,800.
oh, man,
Set me back. And then here's the bad thing about it all. When it all ended, there was nothing on the laptop because it was brand new, so I didn't need to clone it. All I had to do was reinstall Windows, and I would have been good.
yeah,
Go
yeah,
figure.
yeah.
Yeah,
Lesson learned,
right,
ladies and gentlemen. Lesson learned. Be careful when it.
but look, they say, in all honesty and fairness, when it comes to live streaming, and even with this was my first time ever upgrading any memory, any RAM. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. So there's always going to be bumps and bruises.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, that was a very very tough bump for
yeah,
me. I was upset because Congressman John Lewis had just passed away, and I had an interview. I have 2 or 3 external hard drives that have kind of bricked on me. And one of those interviews that I had an extensive interview with was gone. And as I was about to really give up, because I had the pictures of the interview with John Lewis, I forgot that I had did another interview with him back in 2016, and I was just going through those external hard drives, and I found that interview, and that was the interview that you saw that I posted on
yeah,
my last YouTube upload. So,
yeah.
uh, like I said, the trials and tribulations of external hard drives, they can be a beast, shall we say? So,
Yeah. And we should talk more about that and go more in detail. I think in one of the future episodes, because I think like Rob Thomas was saying, data recovery is key, and we should talk cloud storage. How many copies of backups do you have, or do you need, or should you have? I mean, I've got redundant copies of stuff, and it's ridiculous, right? But you got to have it. Um, you know, do you have some here? Do you have some at a remote location? Those kind of things. So, and I know Lance is keen. I mean, his day to day life is all about recovery and security and things like that. So he's looking at he just chimed in actually with a comment right there because I know this is definitely in his wheelhouse. So, Mr. Gilliland, we need to get you on next time we start talking about that because
Lance, can I just send you the external hard drive, and can you pull any of
he could
that?
probably fix it.
He could probably
He could
fix
probably
it.
fix it. Yeah, that man could
Look,
probably
maybe
fix it.
I can get his daughter into one of those cheer camps and talk to those judges or something. No, I
You
can't do that. I
you've
can't do
done
that.
that before? No, hey, you right? Didn't you have that as part of your nonprofit organization?
No, actually, the cheer camp, and I know we're getting a little off topic, but the cheer camp that his daughter participates in, I've actually been the MC for those events.
Yep.
So I'm the actual MC for those cheer. So what people don't know is I am an MC. I'm a hype man, and I actually, get calls to MC at different events. And one of those events was one of the cheer companies reached out to me in Alabama, here in Georgia, and I think I was supposed to do one in I think I did one in Tennessee. And so I actually I'm the MC. I'm the announcer, shall we say, and we try to have a good time with those with the cheerleaders that are out there competing and being out there for a long day. So from my understanding, the parents, they only want to see their kids, and once their kid has performed, they don't really want to stay the rest of the show. They just want to get to the award ceremony. But there's a lot of teams that participate, so I try to keep it entertaining, shall we say?
I love it. Who needs Flavor Flav when you got Tall Boy?
Oh man,
That's
there you
all.
go.
So, there you go. I'm flashing back. I'm old school. You see all this salt in the beard.
I
So,
see. I'm getting a little salt now that I've turned 41.
yes,
Um,
sir.
so real quick, I would like to recap real quick, just real quick for anyone that's catching this show again. When it comes to live streaming, you can do this, and don't worry about how much does it cost. Start where you are. That's first and foremost. Start where you are. There's 4 levels. Level one, let me see if I can switch this over. Level one, you can use your cell phone, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. You can get the tripod. Oh, I was supposed to show you my setup as well, so maybe we can do that once I finish. I'll let you talk and I'll try and reposition the cameras. So, level one, cell phone, doesn't matter if it's Android or iOS. Level two, uh, browser based software, such as the StreamYard that we're using right now. Log on to the software, and you bring in your guest, just like how he's doing. He's switching back and forth. You can show him what it looks like. And
Yeah.
then three, you can use downloadable software such as OBS, which is free, um, XSplit, which is what I use, and then which is the middle tier. You have other companies as well, and then the industry standard is vMix, and they have a free version all the way up to the $1,200 version. So I highly recommend you go to YouTube, you look up OBS, you look up XSplit, you look up vMix, and you see what platform is best for you. And quite naturally, go with the free version if you need to. I know vMix gives you a 60-day, and they may have bumped it up to a 90-day trial if I'm correct, due to COVID, to where you can get the $1,200 package for free for 90 days, and you can see
Wow.
test out all of their components. Originally it was 60, but I think it's 90 due to the COVID. So at least you have 90 days to try out the full package. You can go to OBS, do the free package because it's free anyway, and then
Yeah.
XSplit up on a lifetime license, and that works. And then lastly, once you have that downloadable software, you can use one of these, the Stream Decks, that makes your streams so seamlessly by just pressing the button, and it can switch from camera one to camera two to camera three to camera four. So or you can bring in different sound effects, or you can bring in different slides. However you program it on the Stream Deck, you can just with the press of a button. And if you run out of buttons, they have a way for you to create a new folder, which you get a whole nother set of buttons. So they have three different versions of the Stream Deck. I would go to YouTube. I would look it up. It's called Stream Deck. I would go to YouTube, look up OBS, XSplit, vMix, and then quite naturally, everyone has a cell phone, or if you don't, then you're probably like my dad, who's still using the flip phone, and he probably
Still got that Motorola StarTAC. Is that you still
and
rocking
probably would
that?
never live stream a day in his life. So
That's all
those
right.
are the four things. And then as you start to get into it, if you decide if you want to go with DSLR or mirrorless, I highly recommend mirrorless when it comes to streaming per se. It has clean HDMI, and if you're not familiar with clean HDMI, it's where it does not have any of the battery life, the settings. It's just completely clean. You don't see any of that. So I highly recommend a mirrorless camera over a DSLR. But right now, the way things have been, price point, a lot of price gouging has been going on. So unless you can get a great deal on it, I do not recommend you spending extra money just to say I got a mirrorless camera. And then lastly, I think it was getting one of these capture cards. So make sure you get a capture card if this is the route that you're going to go, if you want to get a mirrorless DSLR camera. If you get a webcam, a you do not need to purchase a capture card. This is only for DSLRs and mirrorless. So if you get a webcam, like such as what Scoop is using right now, you just plug that right into your laptop or your desktop, and you're good to go. All right.
There it is, man. Look, ladies and gentlemen, Tall Boy is just
Oh man.
doing the recap right there. I'm just here again pushing buttons in the background. But hey, I got to first of all give some shouts out to again my son is trying to, his birthday is coming up in a couple of days. So he brought all his homies over from Twitch, and I saw all these comments coming in the stream. I'm like, man, what did
But
I
you,
get? Did
but
I get jacked on my Twitch channel? 'Cause I don't know who this
but
is,
you know
but
what it is. But you know what it is. It's not you. It's
It's
not
not me.
you.
Oh,
It's me.
is you? Oh,
Isaiah
okay.
and I, we go back. We go back to Italy and spaghetti. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
my
Like
gosh, there we go. There
it
we
goes back to
go.
the spaghetti and the food that I had ordered, the prawns,
That's
and he
true.
just felt
That's
my
true.
pain and
That's
just said,
true.
"You know
That's
what? I
true.
got you."
That's
So with that
that's
being
true.
said, it's not you. He deals
It's
with you
not
on a
me.
daily basis.
It's
When
the,
he, when,
it's all family, ladies and gentlemen. It's all family, and I hope you guys that have stayed and watched this talk for an hour enjoyed the conversation. Hopefully, we gave you some bit of information, completely non-biased. I mean, that's the whole idea behind this show as well. Everything we say, we can talk about what we like, what we don't like. We're gonna tell you the truth. It's no one's paying us for this for our commentary, and we will let you know if and when that they do. But we will always be honest with what we say. So take that, hopefully, for what it's worth, and our word is worth a lot, and we want to build on that credibility as Tallboy was mentioning. So um, on that note,
oh,
folks, reach out to us. What you gonna do? You gonna show us something? I'm trying to end the show,
oh,
man. Folks, got to
I'm
go do
sorry.
things.
You supposed to
I'm
put the
trying to end the
camera.
show. I would leave him something.
So two
I would.
things.
Oh
Two
my
two things.
goodness.
What are we
Yeah.
doing? Are we doing this show when again?
We're doing it every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and that's 9 o'clock on your side of the country.
There it is, down in the
You know,
ATL where the true players
oh,
dwell. Okay, I got you.
there he go,
I got
ladies and
you.
gentlemen. See
So,
how it
so
is.
every
Back east
Wednesday,
and west.
9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then if you get a chance, go to YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram and search Hit the Spot 1006 so you can
Oh,
see.
look at you. Did you get a text from the boss? Did she tell you
No,
to
no,
do a little
actually,
plug?
no,
What?
because she said, and it's funny because she's trying to get 100 followers for her YouTube channel,
Yeah.
and the 100th follower, as long as they live in the Atlanta area, they will get a meal on her. But she's trying to get her subscriber count up on YouTube. But if you're looking for a healthy meal, want to learn how to make a meal in under an hour, you can check out Facebook or YouTube to watch the full show, or you can go to Instagram to get the show clips and see what she does. But it's Hit the Spot 1006, all one word. It'll come up. But we were going to show something. I think you said you're going to put it in the show notes. But while you're
Definitely,
doing that,
definitely.
I'm going to switch over and show you what was it? The multi view you said you wanted to see what it looked like. Is that correct? Real
No,
quick.
we don't have time for that because you're
We
gonna
ain't got
trip
time.
over all that equipment. It's gonna be embarrassing. You're gonna hurt yourself, and then I'm just gonna play that as a loop and put that on Snapchat, and then we just gonna be laughing at you for the rest of the. It's gonna become the new
Wow.
2020 meme.
Wow.
But I love you, man. I love you, folks. We appreciate you. Check out tallboy.us. Check out infotainmentnews.net. We will again post these show notes, post these links. Give us your ideas. We're going to reach out to some of you folks who were with us today because I think we've got some talent out there watching us and we want to get you on screen as well. And we will see you next time on The Lab. Peace out, y'all.